Before you land on a single dollar on a real estate deal, you need to know exactly what protects your money. And today, I'm going to break down the questions that every private lender should ask before lending $1 to anybody. My name's Aaron Lambert, guys. I'm a real estate investor here in Las Vegas, and I invest all over the country, specifically in 4 states. But today, I want to break down private money lending and the questions that any private money lender should be asking. I've been investing in real estate for a little over 4 years now. I've bought and sold over 50 properties. I've raised tens of millions of dollars for my projects, and I own and operate about 30 properties right now. Airbnbs, co-living, we have fix and flips, new construction, you name it, I've done it. I've bought in cash, I've bought in creatively, traditionally, and all in between. But, and through that time, I borrowed a lot of capital, borrowed a lot of private money capital. The $10 million that I have raised, it has been all private money, not institutional and not the bank's money. So what is private money? Whenever you think of private money, you think of a person. Your aunt, your uncle, your brother, your sister, your friend down the street, or people you're networking with in your community, or maybe on Facebook, whatever. Someone that has some capital that wants to make money with it, but they don't want to do the work. That's where, investors like myself and other people come in. But a lot of times, lately I've been talking to a lot of lenders and potential lenders, and they've been telling me about the situations that they had where they've been getting burned, or they got into a deal and it looked good at first, and then it didn't pencil out. The person was a piece of crap, whatever the case may be. They almost lent on that deal. So I want to go over the top 10 questions that you as a private money lender need to be asking anyone you're lending money to. I'm going to start with number 10. Number 10, how will the loan be closed and monitored or enforced? So I'm going to go backwards. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start from the other side because I think the first one is the most important. The first one, this is where you will determine if you're going to move forward or not. And it's, who are you lending to, right? Who are you lending to? Who's the operator? The guy asking for the money might not be the guy, might not be the operator on the project. I have a lot of deals where I've lent for, and it's me and my partner, but I'm not the sole operator on the project. My partner is. But you want to ask these questions, right? And you want to know, first, you want to build a relationship with the borrower. You want to vet the borrower. If they come through other sources that have been vetted, that's even better. Other sources of people that have, lent with this person. And you always want to ask, okay, who it is, right? Who are you? Where are you from? Build a relationship. Understand who they are. You can get to know someone really easy and tell if they're BSing you by getting on a Zoom call if you're not close. I like to get on a Zoom call with all of my lenders, and I'll BS with them. I'll take their phone call anytime they want. But just to get to know someone, right? I'm a people person. I like to talk. So, sometimes I have to pull a conversation out of somebody. But that's important. Another important piece is once you get comfortable with that person, at least you understand who they are, and you've back checked whatever that is, then find out what they've done. They could tell you they've done 10 projects, but you want to go check those projects. Go check the people that they've done the projects with, right? Was there any money made? Did anybody lose any money? Or was it a good project? And check and see if they actually did the project from start to finish. You always want to ask the question, bankruptcies and have you went through any foreclosures or bankruptcies? Those are the big ones I get asked all the time. And depending on your relationship, you might want to ask them what their credit score is, right? I've never been asked for a credit report. I've been often asked my credit score, which I think anybody can look up with a couple little clicks. And then, what do they own right now? What's on the books? Like, what kind of rental properties do they have? What do they have to fall back on if everything goes out? What's outstanding? Like, what are you working on? Like, are you over leveraged? Do you have too much going on? Can you handle this new property that you're about to buy? Right. So these are all questions that you need to ask. And I would say number one, like within that question, who are you lending to? Right. Get referrals to other lenders that they've worked with. So you can call and ask them, how was your money paid back? Was it paid back on time? If they didn't pay it back on time, did they give you all of the late fees and everything that comes with not being on time? How is their communication? I'm huge on communication. I do not like when people ghost me, one, and two, just don't communicate properly, right? Like you're asking them the question and just trying to beat around the bush and tell you what you think they think you want to hear. Just give me the dirty, right? And give me what it is, because unless you can do something about it, that's just what it is, right? You can only do so much as an investor, anything, right? If something's wrong, you need to tell everybody that's involved what's wrong, unless you fix it before it got wrong or before it made a scene, right? But these are questions you need to be asking. Now, number two, what exactly will the money be used for? I'm going to speak for myself. If you're lending with me, the money's going to be used for down payment, starter capital on a project. It could be used for closing costs. It could also be used for liquidating funds that we've already had in, because you can come in as a partner, right? We have partners come in and they'll bring in anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000, and that cash might go pay back a short-term lender, or it might just go in our pocket because that was our equity, or that's what we had in the pot, right? It might go to fixing up some of the house, right? It can go to many of those things, but you want to know about the project that it's going to: address, purchase price, closing date, what's the renovation cost if it's a fix and flip. I have some projects in Florida, they're just straight new construction. So anybody that lends on that, they're lending on the amount of money that I need to put down to get the construction loan and to carry the deal down the road. But we'd have in that scenario, if I'm asking you for money for a new construction project, you want to know, do you have plans? Where's the lot at? Do you have an appraisal on what you're building, right? Do you have build costs? Your contractor, how good is your contractor? Have they done any projects with you before? What does their portfolio look like? All these are really good questions to understand where your money's going and how to back check the deal, right? So that's super important. Like right now, I have 3 projects in Florida. We have plans that are sitting at city level. We have demo permits on 2, and one of the lots is already demoed. I have a contractor that's already building another property for me, and she is by far an angel sent from heaven. This chick is like, I had some fix and flip she got me out of bind on. She's been moving at light speed on this other new construction project. Highly impressed with this. She doesn't know this yet, but she's going to get a nice little bonus when these deals finish. Just because of everything that she's done, and her updates are a fire. Like this woman, and this woman is, when it comes to construction, I don't know about anything else going on in her life, but when it comes to construction, she's fire. So that's a really good thing to ask your borrower as well. How good is your communication, and how good are you with the current contractors, right? Because contractors, they screw you over quick. They can ruin a good project quick. I don't know why my camera's all blurry. There it is. All right, next one. What is the property really worth? This is where appraisal comes in, right? You got as is value. Why is this thing so blurry? Come on, baby. Where's my glasses? No, that makes it even worse. So what is the property worth? So you want as is value. I'd say there's 2 ways to go about this. You get appraisal on a property, and that's great, whatever. Is it worth it will be worth that whenever you finish the project and you sell it. So because it's only worth what somebody will pay for it. So let's say, but the problem I see with that is, and I'm gonna tell you how we fix that problem out here in Vegas, is like if you're coming in on a fix and flip on second position, right behind my senior lender, and you're bringing in whatever the amount of capital is that we requesting, but you're bringing it in on a project that's worth pretty much what we're paying for. Now, unless we finish it, the project, then it's still worth that. So the ability to, if something went wrong, for you as the investor to get your money back is kind of hard. You know, you might get shorted if there was something that went wrong and the property had to be, you know, fire sale or something, and you know, even the senior lender might not get all their money back. So how we're protecting our lenders here in Vegas is we use what's called cross collateralization. Cross collateralization is the second piece of property or something else that has value above whatever it is that they're lending on. We never go over, I think it's 90% loan to value. What does that mean, right? Loan to value is however much there's a loan on a property. We don't want to be 90% of what the value is. The value is 100% of the value. $100,000 is 100%. We won't go up to 90. Now, some people won't even go up to 80. Like 80 is their threshold. But the property the reason why we go higher is because they're already cash flowing, right? We've already renovated it. We've already got tenants in there and we're already cash flowing. And these aren't just like your regular cash flow. It's not like a long term. These are people that are paying $800 a bed and up to $1,500 a room. Some of these smaller properties we have are generating anywhere from $4,800 to $7,600 a month in gross revenue. That's big. And I'm talking about like a, you know, 1,500, 1,800, 1,900 square foot home that we're buying no more than 500,000 is like the cap. So that's really good cash flow. So that's why we allow that, you know, to go a little higher on loan to value. So is the property worth it? Those are areas that you want to check, right? Is it cash flowing? Because that brings value. You want to see an appraisal if there was one, recent one. And then for our new construction projects, that's where appraisal comes in too. On new construction, you want to check the value of the land and you want to check the value of the project. And that's when, and then you also want to check the validity of what your borrower is saying by is what he's building worth what he's saying, right? That's where appraisal comes in. So number one, who you lending to? Number two, where's your money going? And number three, is it worth it, right? Number four, what's the true LTV and the LTC? So LTV is loan to value. We just touched on it a little bit. LTC is loan to cost. So a lot of times when we're buying these fix and flips, we're buying them at like a 90-100. A 90-100 would be, I'm getting a loan 90% of the cost. So if it's 100,000, they're going to give me 90,000, and I'm getting 100% of the rehab. So if the rehab costs 50,000, then the bank's going to give me 90,000 plus 50,000. Now, I don't get charged interest until I start drawing on that 50,000. So that's good. But that's loan to cost. So they're going to give me LTC, loan to cost, 90% of the cost of the house. Loan to value is what is the actual value. Now, you'll have lenders that do loan to LTAV, loan to after value. So what is it worth after the fact? And let's say your property is worth $150,000, but they only will give you 75% of the after value. So like the ARV. So those are the two. LTZ, value of the home. What's the loan against it? LTC, loan to cost. How much they're giving you for the up to the cost, right? Fifth question a lender should ask: what is your lien position, and is there any other liens on the property? So what is a lien position? So a lien position is so if you get a mortgage on your home, then the bank is going to be first position. They're always first position, right? If you get if you have a huge trash bill and you don't pay your bills, usually the utility company, trash company, they're going to put a lien on your house. If you live in an HOA, they will put a lien on your house real quick if you don't pay the HOA dues or if you have some fines or whatever. So these are different types of liens, right? So whenever you go through, whenever a property goes through the title and escrow, they go pull this and see, okay, what type of liens are on this property. So whenever you as a lender come in, especially if you're coming in behind first position, you want to know there's no other little liens, junior liens on this property. You want to be second position. Second position sits right behind first position. There are a lot of people that shy away from second position, but that's because either A, they've been burned before, or B, they don't understand how to be protected in second position. So there's two ways that we do it, right? One, we have a deed of trust. So out here in Vegas, just particularly, we don't put a second position on the property we're fixing because, like I said previously, there's a value is not there yet. So why would I bring in a lender and put them on a property that only has the value of what we're paying for? That's silly to me, right? I want to protect my lender. So I put the position on a collateralized property, on a property that's already cash flowing. Well, why do I do that? Because if we didn't pay back our lender, they can now because of our contracts, they can now grab the collateral property and start cash flowing it and take possession of that cash flow until we pay them back, make good on our loan, right? They can't really, they could go through the foreclosure process on them. It's just going to be a little more difficult, more lengthy, and probably cost them more money. But what we like to do is just give up what our the way that we operate is we're going to give that property over to them so they can receive the cash flow moving forward until we can make good on their loan. Now, that's if we just totally default and just say, screw you, Mr. Lender, we're out. But a lot of times, for us, we don't ever do that. But anyway, second position. Now, Florida projects. Florida projects are structured a little different. Our lenders come in second position behind the first lender, but there's also a equity position. So we draw up not only a deed of trust, not only a promissory note, but also a JV agreement that allows them that they're now 30, whatever the percentage is we get on those different properties, but they have an equity position on the property. So they're more than just a lender. It's called a preferred with an equity split. So it's almost like a partnership on that. And then we have another stage of protection for our lenders in Florida, which is how we allow them to lend with us. So whenever they lend with us, we have our other lending company, not me, a third-party lending company that does all the documentation, all the paperwork, handles everything for the second position and the first position. And then they follow the deal throughout the entirety of the deal for two reasons. One, they do this often with other lenders. They want to protect their PMLs. And if I bring a PML to the table, they want to protect my PMLs as well. They do make a fee. And then they want to protect their first position. So they follow the deal. Now, if things starts going south, if I disappear off the planet, and if I just say, F you, I'm out of here, I'm not finishing this project, then they step in with a pre-written contract that we have. They're able to take over the project and finish it, which they're very capable of doing because these guys have been doing this for 30-something years. They got 60 years plus experience in new construction, fix and flip, and lending. So they're highly decorated in that sense. They take over the project, they finish it, and then you as the lender not only get your preferred interest rate, your equity piece, but now you get to participate in the upside of your remaining equity that's in the property that you would work out with my lenders and you. So there's your position. Number 6, how exactly will you be repaid? All right. How will I be repaid if I'm lending? There's multiple different strategies here, right? It depends on what type of lender you come in, right? Most of the time, I would say majority of the time, it's going to be through the sale of a property. It could be through a refinance of the property. It could be through like if you're coming in as a partner, right? If you're coming in as a partner, then you're going to get paid like monthly dividends. And then whenever that partnership is over, usually a partnership lasts about 5 years, we sell the property and you get your funds there. Now, there are times where lenders will be replaced with other lenders. Say I have a short-term lender on this particular project. Well, this lender wants to exit, so I'll go find another lender to replace him. These are all ways to get paid back, typical ways to get paid back on any deal, at least for us, right? We're selling multiple properties. We're refinancing multiple properties. We're getting partnerships with multiple properties. So all this liquidity that comes back into the company gets dispersed out to wherever it needs to go to our lenders, right? Whether they be short-term or long-term. Now, number 7, can the property carry the debt while we wait? What does that mean exactly? Is there enough equity in the property to be able to refinance and then rent it out to pay the bills, right? To pay the debt down, to pay a monthly mortgage payment to your lenders and to the senior lenders, right? So if you're looking at a property like a fix and flip in a market that's you're unsure about, you want to check to see if there's another exit strategy other than selling this thing. Co-living, Airbnb. Airbnb is tough, right? You're gonna have to put some more money into it. But can you rent this thing out to one person and cash flow or at least cover expenses? That's real big, right? And a lot of times nowadays, it's really hard to do that. 100%, it's hard to do that. Unless you get a really big spread on the front end, it's really hard to do it. We have a property in St. Petersburg. I bought it for $660,000 and it appraised at $1.3 million. We put $250,000 into it. If I was to just cash out on the loan right now and refi, I would be spending about $8,000 a month. Well, I could rent that house for about $8,000 a month. So it's going to be really hard for me to get a DSCR lender on that particular property. Now, so what is the exit? The other exit is to hold it, right, and to get a short-term bridge loan, as long as it will carry the note, which the one we have in Florida will. Like our bridge loan is like $7,400, and we have an interested renter at like $8,000 or $8,200 or something like that. It's a nice house, all right, but these are potential exit strategies. And if you have additional capital to throw at a property to make it something different, that's always a strategy too. Although that is a little, like if you did a whole property and it's for a fix and flip and you get down the road and you're like, okay, market just tanked. We're not going to be able to sell it. We got to do something else. We need to get like $10,000 a month out of thing. You might have to spend a little bit more money to change up whatever it is that you did so that you can capture that increase in income. So these are all things that you want to ask any lender or any borrower, sorry. Okay, next one. What can go wrong with the business plan? Well, a lot of things can go wrong. So depends on which business plan you're referring to will depend on what can actually go wrong. So if it's fix and flips, right? If your contractor's crap, and you have a partner and he's crap or she's crap, those are real big ways for a project to go wrong. And I speak from experience because that has happened to me not once, but twice. So that's for like fix and flips. Now, permitting and zoning, these could be issues too. If you don't know, and this is another good one for me that I have hands-on experience. We bought properties that we didn't know that we needed these like flood FEMA permits that only allowed you to rehab up to a certain amount. Well, we needed well over that amount to get this property and sell it for what the after value was. So these were all learning lessons. So these are questions. Okay, what can go wrong? And then if it is in a state that's like real permit heavy, you might want to check your borrowers and the contractors to making sure they're grabbing the proper licenses. Contractor experience. I mean, we touched on contractors a second ago. So, if you're handling the project all on your own and you're handling all your subs and handling all your labor and material, then you need to be very conscious of material labor. So that comes on the front end, budgeting, right? If material and labor go up, that's out of your control, but hopefully you've put a contingency in there, right? So this is something you might want to ask your borrower. Did you put a contingency plan if expenses go up, right, while you're doing this project? I could say for like your southern states, hurricanes, bad weather that can delay projects, not necessarily fix and flip because most of that stuff on the inside, but if you have new construction, weather can delay projects until you get a roof on the thing. So those are real questions to ask. Now, market dips. Nobody can predict a market dip. You can try to read the market and where it's at now, and you can look at historical data, but nobody has a crystal ball, right? Nobody knows. Nobody knew Trump was going to go strike freaking Iran, right? And interest rates were dipping into the 6s or like the 5s, and then they just shot back up. Like nobody saw that coming. I didn't. I listed a property like one day, 2 day, and then the third day, Trump decided to blow up Iran. I'm like, okay, nice, thank you. So what can go wrong? And talk these things out with your borrowers. Like really sit down, say, hey, this is a big project. This is what's going on. What kind of measures do you have in place? Who do you have in place to help mitigate these risks, from happening? Like, what have you done? Like here, like if you're talking about permits, like show me your permits, or do you even need permits, right? On the contractor side of things, are they like licensed? What is their portfolio, which we went over that already. So dig deep, and this is where number one is so important. Know who you're lending to, because if you could tell from a couple conversations whether you got somebody that's really forthcoming with information or they're like withholding information, right? My mouth will get me in trouble sometimes because I just talk too much. I'll say stuff that, I'm not like I'm trying to mislead anybody, but I'm just talking and talking and talking. And, but yeah, so you can definitely know who you're borrowing and the communication piece, because whenever you start asking these questions, they're going to have to come forward with truthful information, right? Unless they're literally trying to swindle you, which I don't know why. It's amazing to me, and it's a whole nother episode, why people will lie to get something done, and then in the end it just bites everybody in the butt, and the lenders get screwed, and everybody gets screwed, and everybody's mad, and it's lawsuits. It's like, why lie? Why try to? Fudging stuff doesn't make sense, right? It just doesn't work. It's just more of a headache. You're just gonna be chasing your tail, and then if you get too much in a bind, and you ain't got strong shoulders, you're gonna dip out. You're gonna just go in hiding, do whatever you got to do. But anyways, okay. Number 9, I'm rambling. What protects me, you, the lender, beyond the property? It's a good question. If the property fails, what happens, right? So insurance, like what happens if the property burns down, gets flooded? We need to make sure we have insurance in place. A lot of lenders don't ask for it. Some of them do. Some of them ask for what is called where we put the lender on the insurance. So in case of a loss, whatever their position is, that can go back to them. Now, so they get named as insured on the property, but it still goes in a position standpoint, from my understanding on the insurance. Now, what else? Any type of guarantees on the property. I would say what protects a lender beyond the property. So this is where I started with why here in Vegas we do not put the lender on the subject property. We utilize a property that's already cash flowing for this main reason, because what if something does happen to that property, right? We have a fallback. You want to make sure your lenders have a fallback, right? What is their fallback? In my Florida projects, my fallback is the lenders there, right? My other lenders, they will come in and take over. This is a good question. This is actually really kind of hard for me to answer. Like, what protects me beyond the property? I mean, there's guarantees. And I'm going to say, as an investor, I'm going to be straight up with you. You know, the ebb and flows of investments, you know, one day you might have a whole stack in the bank, and the next week you're down over here because you got all these projects you're dealing with. But you know, but it all comes back. It's like just a, you know, washing machine. It's up and it's down. It's up and it's down. It's up and it's down. So, you know, this is where relationships come and understanding the project, right? Understanding the project and what other projects does this particular borrower have? Like me, I have like probably 5 or 6 projects right now that are getting close to being like sold. And this is a fallback if this X property right here doesn't. I make money last on every deal. So if this project didn't make enough money to pay my lenders back, this project over here is definitely going to pay them back. And then I'm just going to get whatever's left, right? There's been some times in my previous or like my early career where I made less than lenders. And you know, it's hard, but it happens. But I'm happy for them, because if it wasn't for them, I would have made 0 and I would have learned 0, right? Every time that I make a mistake or do a bad deal, whatever, I learn from that. So that's huge, right? That's another thing that you should ask your borrowers. What has gone wrong with your projects before in the past? Because I don't care who you are, there's something has gone wrong. And then what have you done to fix the problem? What was the problem? What'd you do to fix it? All right, number 10, last, and I'm sure this is not the least of them, but how will the loan be closed, monitored, or enforced? Now, for me, for my projects in Florida, the loan, I mean, any loans, well, I don't say any loan. So speaking on the private money loan, there's 2 ways that lenders lend. You have like people that feel super comfortable with you. They'll be like, hey, Aaron, where do you want me to wire the money? And they wire to my business account, and then I wire to title. Is that right or wrong? Right? It's really you as the lender to determine whether you're comfortable with that. What I tell every lender is like, look, we have an escrow open. You wire to escrow, and it has a track there, right? But I have some lenders that don't want to do that. They just wire it straight to me. I don't ever tell anybody to do that too. That's their choice, right? So the proper way to do a loan on any property is to go through title. You send the money to title, and they're the one that has the track record, and then they send the money to the places that you said it was supposed to go. Like me as the borrower, okay, you're going to send in $100,000. Okay, well, out of that $100,000, $75,000 is going to the bank, the down payment. The $10,000 is going to closing costs, and the rest is reserves, right? That's where it's going. Usually the reserves will go to, unless you have my Florida projects are different, and I'll talk about that in a second, but unless you have a reserve account, those reserves will usually go to, it could be reserves or startup capital, whatever it is, will go to me as a borrower or whoever the other borrower is. You want to vet and call the title companies. This is talking about how the loans close, right? Call the title company, ask them questions. If everything is what the borrower said, then cool, that's what you want, right? Then who's recording the lien, right? If you said that there's going to be a lien on this property, then there better be a deed of trust that's handled at the closing table, and then it needs to be recorded. Now, there's 2 ways that we do that, right? If it's a collateral property, we use a special escrow company that just handles, well, they don't just handle that, but they handle all our collateral short-term loans. So we call them and, hey, we're going to put use collateral on this property. Here's my lender. Here's their information. We put it in the email. They get everything set up. My lender signs paper. We sign all the paperwork. We send it all to title. Title records. My lender then, I don't know if he sends first and then they record, or they record and then he sends one of the. It all happens in the same day, right? They send the money to title. it gets recorded, and then in a week or so, the lender gets something in the mail, usually. And then if there's payments, right? If there's any type of payments, like if there's a lot of our stuff is structured lump sum. So, but there are lenders that get paid monthly, like if you're coming in on a long-term thing. So we set up on some of our accounts, we got set up like a US Loan or a Westar, or like a servicing company that will handle these. That can be handled in different ways depending on the deal, right? If it's a partnership, we set up a separate account that's just for that. And everybody that's on a partner has access to it. So they can see what comes in and what goes out. And then every month they get their preferred interest, which should be an automatic payment. And then every 3 months, we go and we have a meeting and we sit down and, okay, this is all the expenses. This is what's left over. Cool. We divvy it up and send it out. Right. So late fees and default interest. So I've had late fees 100%. What we do for deals that we know that are like on our short-term deals, we're like, hey, look, it's coming up to the end. It doesn't look like we're going to finish on time or whatever, refi, sell a property. Can we do an extension? I ask them. If they say no, then I'm like, okay, well, this is our plan for paying you back. If they say no, then we after 5 days after being late, we start racking in a $50 late fee a day plus the interest. The interest doesn't go up, but they do get $50 a day. So it ultimately they are getting more interest. I think that works out to what, like 1.5 a month additional on top of whatever the interest they was getting. So that's handled. And then after like 36 days, they have the opportunity, especially on the ones here in Vegas, to go and do the foreclosed kind of pre-foreclosed process on the collateral property, which we don't do the foreclosure. We just hand over like, they start receiving the, I forget how we word it and how it's said, but anyways, they take over the property that's the collateral and they start receiving the rent checks. Let's see what else. Legal, like usually legal, like who's handling legal, if there's any legal and services, all that's usually handled from title and preparing of documents. Now in Vegas, we utilize the TCs, or we have documents that have been used throughout all of our property. We have like 50 here in town, and they don't change. The documents don't change unless requested. If it's like a deed of trust, we get that through title. If there's any other documents that are like out of our scope, we usually get a TC or we get title to handle those. On my Florida properties, all of that documentation gets handled through our lending company, the guys that I were telling you about, that they have a whole team that just handles all the documents. They do all of that. They got their TCs and so that's a third party company does it. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it on the 10 things that you need to ask, right? There's more, but these are kind of the top 10 things that I come up with. One thing, like, how is a project monitored, right? This kind of goes with the whole, like, it all depends on the project, right? For me, I touch base with my lenders and I take my lenders' calls. I will, anything that my lender needs from me, they can call me, they can text me, they can email me about the property. And if I have it, I get it to them, right? Monitoring the project itself, that depends on the project. Here in town, my partner handles we have a GC, in-house GC. He pretty much handles everything. So I just kind of get updates from them. I don't need to be going to the project and visiting the area. It's kind of a waste of time for me because I have them doing that. My Florida projects, like I said, I have a jam up project manager. I take trips out there, and then we have our other lending company. They monitor that as well. So let's run through these one more time, and then I'm going to get out of here. Number 10, how's the loan closed? Who's monitoring? Who's enforcing it? Number 9, what's protection past the property that we're doing? What can go wrong with the business plan? Whether you're doing co-living, whether you're new construction, fix and flip, whatever it is, what can go wrong, right? Number 7, can the property carry the debt? So if we had to hold the property, can we cover it with rents or whatever the case may be? Is there another exit strategy that we can utilize to cover this debt until we sell it or whatever the case may be? Of course, that's case by case. You got to know what the property is being used for at first. Like what's the initial exit strategy? Number 6, how will you be repaid, right? That's important, right? There's many ways to be repaid depending on the exit. Usually you want to know that up front. Fix and flip, new construction, whatever the case may be. Lien position. What is your lien position? What is the LTV and the LTC? These are big ones if you're going in second position. Where is the property worth what you're buying it for, one, and what you're saying it's worth after? And then number 2, what is the money you being used for up front? Like you're borrowing this amount. What's it all going to, right? If it's not all going to a down payment, break down what each piece is going to. And then the most important one is, who the heck are you lending to? If you're lending to me, I'm right here. I'm going to tell you what it is. But and if you're interested in lending to me, I have a link in the description below. It says lend with us. I have my other socials on there. Check them out, or just hit me up. I love to meet you. I love meeting new people. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this show, and lend with care. Know what you're doing, know who you're doing it with. If this episode has been helpful to you, I would enjoy you or love for you to like it and possibly subscribe if you like hearing me ramble. This is, I think, number 10 of a 30-day series. So anyways, y'all have a good night. Happy Wednesday.